Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
There is a teenager in Fort Myers, Florida, right now who is making grown men stop dead in their tracks and pull out their phones. Reporters, coaches, other prospects from other organizations. They are all watching this kid and saying the same thing out loud. Who in the world is that? And the answer, Boston Red Sox fans, is Justin Gonzalez. A 19-year-old, 6'6", 277-pound force of nature who just hit a baseball so hard in a spring training game that it nearly broke the internet. We are talking about the second hardest hit ball in all of spring training this year, a 117.3 miles per hour laser beam off the bat of a kid who isn't even old enough to legally have a beer. The dugout erupted, scouts lost their minds, and the baseball world is now officially asking the question that Red Sox fans have been quietly whispering about for months. Could this be the next great Boston Red Sox superstar? Let's back up for a second and set the scene properly, because this story deserves to be told right. Justin Gonzalez was signed by the Boston Red Sox in January of 2024 for the bargain price of $250,000 out of the Dominican Republic. Now, in the world of international signings, that is not a flashy number. That is not a top-of-the-class, everyone is watching this kid kind of bonus. That is a quiet, under-the-radar signing, the kind where Boston's front office probably looked at this teenager, saw something that nobody else was seeing clearly yet, and decided to get him into the system before the rest of the league figured out what they had. And what they had, it turns out, was a generational type of physical specimen who was still growing. Yes, still growing. Because when Gonzalez showed up to spring training camp this year, he had sprouted to 6 feet and 6 inches, a full 2 inches taller than the last time the Red Sox measured him. 2 inches in one off-season. The man is 19 years old and still adding height. Red Sox manager Alex Cora took one look at this kid standing in the outfield during pregame warm-ups and reportedly said out loud to anyone who would listen, "That body, look at him. He's only 19. Lucky for him, he's playing baseball. He was born in the Dominican Republic. If not, he would be playing tight end for somebody. He's a freak athlete." That is your manager, everyone. That is the guy who has seen everything in this game, saying your 19-year-old prospect is a freak athlete. When Alex Cora starts reaching for metaphors, you probably want to start paying attention. And pay attention people did, because everything that happened before even the first pitch of meaningful spring baseball told you this kid was different. Reporters who had been covering the Red Sox organization for years were filing dispatches from Fort Myers, saying things like, "This guy is enormous." Andrew Parker, who has been embedded down at JetBlue Park, covering the minor league side of camp, was basically sending out daily dispatches that amounted to the baseball journalism equivalent of a double take. Other prospects on other teams were walking past Gonzalez during workouts and doing the same math that everyone eventually does when they get their first look at him. 6'6", 277 pounds, 19 years old. Hits the ball like he is angry at it. The comparison that kept coming up over and over again from multiple sources and multiple opposing scouts was Aaron Judge, the reigning back-to-back American League MVP, the most physically imposing hitter in the major leagues. That Aaron Judge. People are comparing this teenager to that guy. And then, in a spring training game against the Toronto Blue Jays, Justin Gonzalez went out and basically proved the comparison was not entirely crazy. In the 9th inning of that game, with the Red Sox's top outfield options all away on World Baseball Classic duty, Gonzalez got his shot on the big field, and what he did was hit a line drive single to left field that registered at 117.3 miles per hour off the bat. Let that number sink in for a moment. 117.3 miles per hour. According to StatCast data, only 30 balls were tracked at a higher exit velocity in the entire 2025 Major League Baseball season. The list of names who hit the ball that hard in actual Major League games includes Aaron Judge and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Since StatCast came along in 2015, only 3 Red Sox players, Franchi Cordero twice, Jaron Duran, and Hanley Ramirez have ever hit a baseball at 117 miles per hour or harder. And now, Justin Gonzalez, who has not played a single inning of AAA baseball in his life, has joined that club in a spring training game at age 19. The Red Sox dugout, by multiple accounts, absolutely lost it. Players were leaping off the bench. Cora came out afterward and basically described the at-bat like it was a highlight from a showcase, not a Grapefruit League game, and that was before anyone even mentioned what Gonzalez did earlier in the same game defensively, because before the hit, the teenager uncorked a throw from right field to third base that clocked at 98.1 miles per hour, on a rope, no hop, perfect accuracy. The opposing base runner, who probably runs the bases for a living, took one look at where that ball was going and decided he wanted absolutely no part of it. Now here is where the story gets truly fascinating, because the exit velocity and the arm and the physical frame are all incredible, but they are almost the least interesting things about Justin Gonzalez as a prospect. The stuff that is really making evaluators' eyes go wide when they dig into the numbers is something that you almost never see paired with this kind of power potential in a teenager. It is called strike zone control, and Justin Gonzalez has it in abundance. Think about what you know about big, powerful hitters in baseball. When you've got a guy who is 6'6" and has a strike zone the size of a billboard, pitchers have a lot of real estate to work with. They can go up, they can go down, they can work the edges. The natural expectation is that a young hitter with that kind of frame is going to swing at pitches he has no business swinging at, because the zone is just so large that distinguishing a ball from a strike becomes exponentially harder. Aaron Judge himself was known early in his career for prodigious strikeout numbers before he figured out the zone. So when you look at Justin Gonzalez's strikeout rate from last season, 15.9% across all levels, that number is genuinely jaw-dropping. That is not just good for a teenager. That is not just good for a prospect. That is below major league average, which means this kid is controlling the strike zone at a level that most actual big leaguers cannot match. His walk rate sat at 9.5%, which is solidly above average, and tells you he is not just taking pitches because he is passive. He is making real disciplined decisions about what to swing at and what to let go. On top of that, his contact rate when swinging at pitches inside the strike zone was 83%, which is close to major league average for actual big leaguers. This is a 19-year-old. On balls in play, his hard hit rate, meaning the percentage of contact he made at 95 miles per hour or higher, sat at 45% in 2025. That is comparable to where Roman Anthony was at the same level at a similar stage. Roman Anthony, who went on to become Baseball America's #1 overall prospect in the entire sport. Across his 2025 stateside season, primarily in Low A Salem, where he played 81 games, Gonzalez hit .298 with a .381 on-base percentage and a .423 slugging percentage for a WRC plus of 131, meaning he produced 31% better than a league average hitter in that environment. He was then briefly promoted to High A Greenville for 11 games, where he got his first real taste of older competition and experienced some expected growing pains. But the overall arc of the season was unmistakably positive. And then, over the off-season, the kid somehow got even better. Multiple sources who have watched him take batting practice this spring report that Gonzalez has added velocity to his exit velocity. His maximum exit velocity last season was 113 miles per hour, which, for context, would have ranked among the hardest hit balls by any member of the 2025 Boston Red Sox. Roman Anthony's hardest hit ball last season was 113.7. This spring, reports suggest Gonzalez is reaching 117, 118 miles per hour in batting practice. That is not refinement. That is a new level of power output. One evaluator, quoted in a Boston Globe piece, put it with zero ambiguity. If he just gets to league average with his ground ball rate, you're talking about a massive improvement in performance. If it clicks, he could be an MVP. And that, right there, is the one ingredient that is currently standing between Justin Gonzalez and the stratosphere: the ground ball rate. Last season, 52% of Gonzalez's balls in play went to the ground, compared to a big league average of 38%. The man is hitting absolute missiles, but he is aiming them at the dirt. He is generating the kind of bat speed and raw exit velocity that should produce home runs at an eye-popping rate, but the launch angle is not there yet. 4 home runs in stateside baseball so far in his professional career. 4, from a guy who is hitting baseballs at 117 miles per hour. The power is real. The trajectory is the problem. And here is the thing. Gonzalez knows this. He talked about it openly in camp. He said, and I am paraphrasing here, that he already knows he hits the ball hard. He is not worried about hitting the ball hard. What he is focused on this year is hitting the ball in the air, on a line, with better angles off the bat. He has been working on his contact point and his bat path all off-season, and multiple people who have watched him hit this spring say the improvement is already visible. Whether it translates into home run production during the season remains to be seen, but the intentionality and the self-awareness from a 19-year-old is itself a deeply encouraging sign. And what about the defensive side of the equation? Because you hear 6'6" and 277 pounds, and you assume this is a guy who plays first base, maybe designated hitter, and calls it a career. You do not assume this is a guy who is going to go chase down fly balls in the outfield. But here is the twist. Before the Red Sox converted Gonzalez into an outfielder full-time, there were scouts who genuinely believed this kid had the stuff to be a major league pitcher. That arm, the one that threw 98 miles per hour on a rope from right field in that spring training game, that is a real weapon. And while no one is going to sit here and tell you that Justin Gonzalez is going to win a Gold Glove anytime soon, the reports out of Fort Myers consistently describe his range as surprisingly solid for his size, his footwork as improvable but not alarming, and his overall defensive profile as nowhere near the liability you might expect. The Red Sox had him split time between first base in the Dominican Summer League and the outfield at the stateside levels. Last season alone, he logged innings in right field, center field, and left field. The fact that he was playing center field at low A and high A tells you the organization is not concerned enough about his athleticism to hide him in a corner. His speed is below average, sure, but it is functional. It is not a problem, and if Gonzalez keeps developing as a hitter, his defensive home is probably going to end up at first base or a corner outfield spot anyway, where his bat will be so overwhelming that the defense becomes largely irrelevant. Here is the full picture then, assembled from all the evidence available right now. You have a 19-year-old who is still physically developing and already stands 6'6" and weighs 277 pounds. He hits the ball as hard as anyone in the Red Sox organization, and arguably as hard as anyone in the minor leagues entirely. He controls the strike zone at a level that rivals major league averages. He makes contact at a high rate for his age and level. He has a cannon for an arm. He is mentally engaged, studious, watching big league drills from the dugout when most minor leaguers are nowhere near the main facility. He is working every single day to address the one mechanical flaw, the ground ball rate, that is standing between him and a power profile that scouts are describing in MVP terms. And he just turned 19 years old in December. He will not be old enough to legally drink a beer in the United States until the final day of 2026. He is not even close to his physical peak, and he is already doing this. Baseball America has him ranked 7th in Boston's system. MLB Pipeline has him 6th. But given what has happened this spring, both of those numbers feel like they are about to move in one direction only. Because the word coming out of Fort Myers is not cautious optimism, it is stunned disbelief. Reporters are not hedging their language. Other prospects are not walking past him without noticing. This is not a quiet story that only die-hard prospect nerds know about. This is becoming the spring training story in the Red Sox camp. Scouts from other organizations are making the Aaron Judge comparison without being asked. And Aaron Judge, for what it is worth, is a guy who plays for a team that the Red Sox would very much like to eventually dethrone. Now it is critical to keep perspective here because baseball has humbled far more can't-miss prospects than it has validated. The road from Low A Salem to Fenway Park is long and unforgiving. More tools have been swallowed by the unforgiving grind of professional baseball than have ever made it all the way through. Gonzalez is going to face harder pitching. He is going to face smarter pitching. He is going to face situations where the ground ball rate problem gets exploited ruthlessly by veteran pitchers who figure out his tendencies before he figures out theirs. He needs reps. He needs development. He needs time. He is 19 years old, and that reality has to stay at the front of every conversation about what he could become. But dreaming on a prospect, really letting yourself imagine what the best possible version of a player could look like, is one of the genuine pleasures of being a baseball fan. And right now, in the spring of 2026, the best possible version of Justin Gonzalez is the kind of thing that keeps opposing general managers awake at night. A 6'6", 277-pound monster in the middle of a lineup, drawing walks, making hard contact, putting the ball in the air, throwing lasers from the outfield, still only 22 or 23 years old by the time he reaches the big leagues. One small mechanical tweak away from being something the American League East has never seen before. One adjusted bat path away from home, run numbers that would make highlight reels for years. That is what is lurking in Fort Myers right now. That is the guy making every reporter and scout and opposing prospect do a double take every single morning. That is Justin Gonzalez. And Boston Red Sox fans would be very wise to start learning his name. If you made it all the way to the end of this one, then clearly you love Red Sox baseball as much as we do around here. And that means you absolutely need to hit that subscribe button right now if you have not already. We are covering Red Sox content almost every single day on this channel, and stories like this one, the hidden gems, the prospects about to explode, the names you need to know before everyone else knows them, this is exactly what Red Sox Radio is all about. Hit the like button too while you are at it. It genuinely helps more people find this channel and helps us keep doing what we do. And drop your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think Justin Gonzalez's ceiling is? Do the Aaron Judge comparisons hold up? Can he fix the ground ball rate and unlock that superstar power? We want to hear everything. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you in the red seats. Up to